Hi, this is Debbie. Welcome back to Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener. And I think we have exceeded the pounds of food that we did last year. This is just a small portion of what I have harvested only today. Today is September 5th. And we have just went through a little bit of the garden and pulled at a few different things. The reason you're seeing some green tomatoes over here is because I'm getting ready to do some fried green tomatoes. This is the largest super sauce tomato that I had out there. So we weighed it. It is a little over 2 pounds, like I supposed that it would be. So this guy is pretty big for a super sauce tomato. Even though it doesn't look super huge, this guy is big around and in weight. This guy is just heavy. So we've got that one, and then all of these other guys. These were from the damaged super sauce tomato vines that ended up contracting blight along with those San Marzanos. So we have a little bit of this here, and I apologize that I sound a little funky because we ended up being sick after we had the visitors come through, and I don't know if it was just a combination of stress, what all happened, but anyway, this is just some of the harvest today. We only had a couple of corn left. Most of the corn that I have, I'm going to be actually finishing out for seed. So I'll show you that just a moment. So you can see here that we're just finishing the rest of the corn out for seed. Most of these were pretty dry, and I already had just went ahead and pulled them off. And I'll finish drying them out here in the flat box. I did that last season, didn't have any issue. But you can see they're a little wrinkled and looking a little translucent. That's exactly what you want when you pull them off, for them to go ahead and finish out drying. If I leave them out on the stalks much longer, I'm afraid that they will actually get damaged from frost or freeze, because we're looking at temperatures dropping from 93 degrees for the next 3 days down to the 60s on Friday and Saturday, with lows going into the low 40s. So that is a potential to have a freeze. So we're going ahead and finishing up as much of the things as we can. I did have my pumpkins out in the garden turn orange the last couple of days, so they must have known more than I know, because they started turning orange pretty fast. Now we have some squash out there that are not finished. We will leave them out there to see if it does not freeze, and if they will continue to grow. Usually when it gets that cold, the growth on them stops, so I'm not really sure if they'll finish out or not. So that means the Tahitian squash, unfortunately, will not be finished. But we will hope, cross fingers, that it doesn't freeze and that it doesn't get so low that they stop growing. But as of right now, we're looking at temperatures going pretty low on Friday and Saturday. So we'll see. Now you see here that we have harvested a bunch of our watermelons. We had all of them ripe except for one. In fact, 3 of them were so ripe that they just basically, when I stuck the knife in, they split all the way around. So we went ahead and harvested those, and I've got them cut up and put into a container, which you'll see in a moment. But we did go ahead and save the seeds. These are the Black Diamond watermelon seeds, and they were much larger than the other seeds that we've gotten out of the watermelon so far. These are the doll baby watermelon seeds. So we had quite a few of those, and they're a mixture of reds and pinks and oranges and yellows, and that's exactly what happened. We had pulled a pink one, and we pulled a couple of yellow ones, and we pulled a red one. So we just kind of mixed all the seeds together to keep them like that, so it's kind of a surprise for next season. Of course, we got some calendula over here, and I just left the bag open to let it dry out a little bit more. And we're starting to dry our herbs now too, and there's our hibiscus. And this is some of the lemon basil, sage is in this one. And then we have some chives over here. And these are a mixture of garlic chives and common chives, both. And they're actually dry enough now that we can go ahead and put them in a container. So we have all of that going on. And then we have the Miller's Farmstead watermelon seeds over here as well. Those are the ones that were so ripe when we put the knife into them, they just split all the way around. So I had went ahead and canned up a couple of jars of tomatoes, and I just got to get them into, they haven't actually sealed yet, I've just got to get them into the canner. We had 3 zucchinis that I didn't know anything about. One of them, of course, got to a couple of feet long. This guy is huge. Look at this. So it is a little hard on the outside, so I may have to end up peeling it to be able to use it for anything, or just maybe do stuffed zucchini boats or something like that. But it is still edible. It's still plenty good. I'll check and see if the seeds are mature in it, which I doubt because it's still green. You really want them to turn orange-ish or yellowish before you harvest the seeds out of these guys. So they're most likely not mature, but if they are, we'll save them. And like I said, we had 4 gallons of corn. Actually, we had about 4.5. I got another half, a quart, actually, 4 1/4. So I got another quart out of them. And then we had 2 more right here. And you can see we have nice big peppers now. This one's actually turning a yellowish color. And this is our daikon radishes. Look at this guy, how big it is. And they actually get much bigger. I just went ahead and harvested that one so we could eat it this evening. And we had another nice big yellow squash in there. It's a yellow straight neck. And we had a couple of heads of broccoli right here. And we had more tomatoes. We had one that was red, but the rest of them, of course, as I said, I was just pulling them for fried green tomatoes. And you can't see it down in here, I guess. Let me go ahead and pull it out. This is 2 heads of our celery. Look at this celery. This is just as big as you would get in the store. Look at that. And like I said, they were about 3 feet long, so you can see they're a lot longer than the zucchini on the left. So, sorry about that. My dog's barking, thinking there's someone here, and there's not. It's just me talking. So, yeah, nice big celery. And then I picked about a gallon of beans today. That doesn't look like a gallon, but these beans are big. Just really nice big beans. Look at this. Look at this. So, nice huge beans. And they're still very tender. And then we had some beets today as well. Let me show you the heads on those beets. We had some nice big heads on those beets. Nice, still tender. And we had a couple of tomatillos that were ready. And we had a couple of heads of some lettuce in here that I went ahead and got for supper this evening. And here is the doll baby watermelon that I was telling you about. Look at that. We've already eaten so much of this watermelon. We just basically ate it as soon as we were pulling them off the vine. But yeah, nice and yellow and red that's left. We have a few more tomatoes in here. And a whole bunch of yellow pear tomatoes and sun gold cherry tomatoes. And a couple of more squash and another zucchini. And look at all these cucumbers. We've had bunches of cucumbers in the last few days. And they're still producing like crazy, and hopefully they will weather out the cooler weather this weekend, or this Friday, Saturday, if the weather forecast is accurate. But I would say it's about accurate. This is about the same time every year that we get a cold spell. It's the weekend of Labor Day that we get the cold spell, but it looks like it's going to hold out until next weekend. So look at all those cucumbers. Anyway, here is the whole thing. So I did not weigh everything, to be very honest, but this is quite a bit of weight of food right now. And there's already been so much more that I've already canned and put away. As you know, I've put away many jars of pickles, of all different varieties of pickles. And we are probably going to make these into Clausen copycat pickles. And these will go into the refrigerator. I also picked up 2 flat boxes with 12 containers each of blackberries yesterday from a nearby farm because I don't grow my own blackberries here as yet. So we picked up 2 flats of those. I put away about 7 quarts of blackberries into the freezer. And I also got a box which had 12 containers of cremini mushrooms as well. And I'll show you those are in my fridge. So we've got those in there. I have not processed them yet. I believe we're going to slice them up and either dehydrate them or put them in the freezer. So I'm thinking the freezer is probably going to be the better route for these guys. We will eat some of them fresh, but we have a bunch of mushrooms in there. So we have that in there and all of this, and we still have so much more out in the garden to harvest when it is time. I'm leaving the rest of the tomatoes until the very end. And all the potatoes, of course, will be left in the ground until the very end. And then we still have some watermelons out there on the vines that I'm just try to finish up before the cold spell. They are so very close that it could happen any moment. And then, of course, we had the cantaloupes and crenshaws out there. Hopefully it doesn't get cold enough to make them stop growing. So let's just cross our fingers and hope is all I can say. But if that happens, we have plenty of food that we have already harvested from the garden, and still plenty more that will go right on through the cold spell, which will be the cabbages, the cauliflower, the broccoli, the kale, and the lettuces, and the radishes, and all of the other things that are still out there. And most of the tomatoes will weather through the cool spell as well, as long as it doesn't freeze. So there you have it. All of this food happening right now at Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener. I wouldn't say I'm a homestead. I would say I'm an urban farm, I guess. Anyway, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notices on new videos as they come out. And we shall see you in the next one.